Chosen one, listen carefully, because this moment is not ordinary. You didn't arrive here by accident, and these words are not random. Something deeper is happening beneath the surface of your awareness. There is a stirring in your spirit, a quiet urgency that you've been trying to ignore, but it keeps returning. That name, that face, that connection. You felt it the instant this message began, and you tried to reason it away, didn't you? You told yourself it's just emotion, just memory, just attachment, but deep down you know, it's more. There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. Moments where a decision doesn't just affect your feelings, it shapes your destiny. And you right now are standing in one of those moments. This is not just about holding on or letting go of a person. This is about alignment with purpose. This is about whether you will walk away from something that carries weight in your life, or whether you will endure long enough to understand why it was placed there in the first place. You've been feeling the pressure, haven't you? The confusion, the emotional exhaustion, the back and forth thoughts that won't let you rest. One moment you feel certain, the next you feel lost. One day you're ready to fight for it, the next day you're convincing yourself to walk away. That tension you feel, it's not random, it's not meaningless, it's the evidence of something significant being contested. Because understand this, ordinary things don't come with this level of resistance. Casual connections don't shake your spirit like this. If it were shallow, it would have faded quietly. If it were meaningless, it wouldn't keep resurfacing in your heart, in your prayers, in your thoughts when you least expect it. The depth of what you feel is not your weakness, it's a signal that something about this connection carries weight beyond what your mind can fully comprehend right now. But here's where many people make their mistake. They interpret discomfort as a sign to quit. They mistake pressure for proof that something is wrong. They assume that if something is meant to be, it should be easy. But the truth is often the opposite. The things that carry the greatest purpose usually come with the greatest resistance. You're not just dealing with emotions, you're dealing with a refining process. Something in you is being stretched, challenged, awakened. This connection has exposed parts of you that you didn't even realize needed growth. It has revealed your fears, your insecurities, your patterns, your capacity to love, your capacity to endure. And that's uncomfortable. Growth always is. But discomfort does not mean destruction. Pressure does not mean failure. Sometimes it means transformation. And yes, you've been tempted to walk away, not because you don't care, but because it's hard, because it doesn't make sense, because you're tired of the uncertainty. You've told yourself that leaving would bring peace, that letting go would simplify everything, that maybe it's just not meant to be. But be honest with yourself. Does that thought actually bring peace? Or does it feel like something inside you is resisting it? Because there's a difference between peace and relief. Relief is temporary. It comes from escaping pressure. But peace, real peace, comes from alignment. And when you're about to walk away from something that still carries purpose in your life, your spirit won't settle. It will wrestle. It will nudge you. It will keep bringing you back to the question you're trying to avoid. What if you're leaving too soon? What if the very moment you're in, the confusion, the tension, the silence, is not the end, but the process right before clarity? You see, timing is everything. And one of the hardest things to do is to stay when you don't understand what's happening. To remain steady when everything feels uncertain. To trust that something is being worked out even when you can't see it. Because not everything meaningful reveals itself immediately. Some things require patience. Some things require endurance. Some things are being built beneath the surface, in ways you cannot yet see. Think about it. Just because something is quiet doesn't mean it's inactive. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean there isn't movement. Some of the most important transformations happen in silence, and right now, something is being shaped, not just in the situation, but in you. You are being taught discernment. You are being taught patience. You are being taught how to stand firm without losing yourself. You are being prepared for a level of understanding that you didn't have before this. But preparation doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like pressure. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like being stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. And that's why so many people quit. right before things begin to make sense. They leave at the point where endurance was required. They walk away at the moment where clarity was closest. They give up not because it was wrong, but because it was hard. Don't let that be your story. Because if you walk away from something that still carries purpose, you don't just lose the connection, you lose the understanding that would have come from seeing it through. And this doesn't mean holding on blindly. It doesn't mean ignoring reality or forcing something unhealthy. It means seeking clarity instead of reacting to discomfort. It means choosing discernment over impulse. It means asking yourself not just how do I feel, but what is this teaching me? Because everything in your life is either building you or revealing you. And this is doing both. You've been shaped by this connection in ways you can't deny. It has challenged you, changed you, awakened you. And that doesn't happen without reason. So before you decide to walk away, pause, not out of fear, not out of obligation, but out of awareness. Ask yourself, am I leaving because it's truly right, or because it's uncomfortable? Am I walking away from clarity, or running from confusion? Am I acting from peace, or reacting from pressure? Because the answer to those questions matters more than you realize. And listen, whatever happens, your strength is not defined by whether you stay or go. It's defined by whether you make that decision with clarity, not fear, not exhaustion, not doubt. Clarity. Because when you move with clarity, you don't carry regret. You don't look back wondering what if. You don't question whether you gave up too soon. You stand firm in your decision because you understand it. And that's what this moment is asking of you. Not perfection, not certainty about the future, but awareness, discernment, patience. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to not rush a decision that carries weight. Because some things are not meant to be decided in moments of emotional intensity. They are meant to be understood over time. So slow down. Not everything that feels urgent is meant to be acted on immediately. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to stay present long enough for the truth to reveal itself, and it will. Clarity always comes. Understanding always follows patience. And what feels confusing now will make sense in time if you don't interrupt the process. You are not lost. You are in the middle of something. And the middle is always the hardest part because it's where you don't have the beginning's excitement or the ending's clarity. It's where everything feels uncertain, but it's also where the real transformation happens. So don't rush to escape it. Don't trade long-term understanding for short-term relief. Don't walk away from something meaningful just because it's difficult to understand right now. You've come this far for a reason, and whatever this connection means in your life, whether it's meant to stay, evolve, or teach you something before releasing, you deserve to understand it fully, not partially, not emotionally, fully. And that requires patience, that requires strength, that requires you to not give up at the point where things feel unclear. Because clarity is often just on the other side of endurance, so hold steady. Not blindly, not fearfully, but consciously, because this moment, this exact moment, is shaping something in you that will matter far beyond what you can see right now. And one day you will look back and understand why you were asked to stay just a little longer, to think a little deeper, to feel a little more, before making your decision. Your story is still unfolding. Don't close the chapter too soon. This moment is not accidental. It may feel ordinary on the surface, like just another passing thought or emotion, but there is something deeper unfolding within you right now. You didn't land here by chance, and what you're feeling isn't random noise, it's a signal. There is a reason your mind keeps returning to that specific person, that situation, that unresolved feeling. You may try to distract yourself, to brush it off, to label it as overthinking or emotional attachment, but it keeps coming back with quiet persistence. That repetition alone should tell you something. This deserves your attention. You are standing at a turning point, whether you fully recognize it yet or not. Life has a way of presenting moments like this. Moments that don't look dramatic from the outside, but carry the power to shape your direction moving forward. These are the moments where your choices matter more than usual, where what you decide doesn't just affect your present but echoes into your future. and often they come wrapped in confusion rather than clarity. That's why it's so easy to overlook their importance. The emotions you're feeling right now are layered. It's not just about missing someone, or being unsure, or feeling pulled in two directions. There's something underneath all of that, a deeper question trying to surface. Why does this matter so much to you? Why does this connection linger when others have faded? Why does it stir something inside you that you can't easily explain? These are not questions to ignore. They are invitations to understand yourself better, to see what this situation is revealing about your needs, your patterns, your growth. And then there's the person on your mind. It would be easier if you could simply forget them, if your thoughts would move on like they have with others in the past. But they haven't. Something about them has stayed with you, not necessarily because everything was perfect, but because something about that connection left an imprint. That doesn't automatically mean they are meant to stay in your life forever, but it does mean their presence has significance. Sometimes people enter your life not just to stay, but to awaken something within you that was previously dormant. This is why awareness matters right now. Instead of rushing to label the situation or force a decision, allow yourself to observe it with honesty. What are you truly feeling beneath the surface? Are you reacting out of fear, or are you responding from a place of understanding? Are you holding on because it feels familiar, or because it genuinely aligns with who you are becoming? These distinctions are important, and they require stillness to recognize. There is no need to rush through this moment. Not every feeling demands immediate action, and not every situation needs to be resolved right away. Sometimes the most important step is simply to pay attention, to sit with what is arising, and let it reveal its meaning over time. Because moments like this, as subtle as they may seem, often carry the seeds of clarity, growth, and direction. And if you give them the awareness they deserve, they will guide you toward a decision that feels not just right in the moment, but right in the long run. Intensity signals importance, not weakness. What you are feeling right now, the confusion, the emotional weight, the inner conflict pulling you in different directions, is easy to misinterpret. Most people assume that when something feels this overwhelming, it must be a sign that something is wrong, that it's too complicated, too messy, or simply not meant to be. But that assumption can be misleading. Sometimes the very intensity you're experiencing is not a warning to walk away, but an invitation to look deeper. Think about it. Truly insignificant things don't shake you like this. They don't stay on your mind, they don't stir your emotions, and they certainly don't create this kind of internal dialogue. When something carries no meaning, it fades quickly and quietly. But this hasn't faded. It has stayed, it has grown, and it has demanded your attention in ways you can't easily ignore. That alone tells you that there is something here worth understanding. The confusion you feel doesn't necessarily mean the situation is wrong. It often means it's complex. It means there are layers you haven't fully unpacked yet. You may be facing emotions that challenge your usual way of thinking, or circumstances that don't fit neatly into your expectations. And when your mind can't immediately make sense of something, it labels it as a problem. But confusion is often the first step toward clarity, not the opposite of it. Emotional pressure works in a similar way. It can feel uncomfortable, even overwhelming at times. But pressure is also what creates transformation. Just like anything that grows or evolves, there is always a phase where things feel stretched, uncertain, and intense. That doesn't mean you're breaking. It often means you're expanding. You're being pushed beyond your provisional way of understanding yourself and your relationships. And then there's the inner conflict, the part of you that feels torn. One side may be telling you to walk away, to protect yourself, to choose what seems easier. Another side keeps pulling you back, asking you to reconsider, to hold on, to understand more before making a decision. That tension can feel exhausting, but it also reveals that this situation is touching something meaningful within you. If it didn't matter, there would be no conflict. You would already be certain, already be at peace with letting go. This is why it's important not to label your intensity as weakness. Feeling deeply is not a flaw. It's a sign that you are engaged with your life in a real and honest way. It shows that you are not numb, not disconnected, not avoiding what matters. Instead of trying to shut it down or escape it, consider what it might be trying to show you. There is often growth hidden inside these moments. Growth in understanding your boundaries, your needs, your emotional patterns. Growth in learning how to respond instead of react. Growth in recognizing what truly aligns with you and what doesn't. And sometimes, even if the situation itself doesn't turn out the way you expect, the growth you gain from it becomes the real purpose behind why you experienced it in the first place. So rather than seeing this intensity as a sign that something is wrong, try to see it as a signal that something is happening, something meaningful, something that has the potential to shape you, to teach you, and to move you forward in ways you might not yet fully understand. Don't confuse discomfort with a sign to quit. It's one of the most common mistakes people make when facing something meaningful. The moment things start to feel heavy, uncertain, or emotionally demanding, the instinct is to step back, to protect yourself, to choose what feels easier. And on the surface that makes sense. No one naturally seeks discomfort. But the problem is, not everything that feels difficult is wrong. In fact, some of the most important experiences in your life will feel exactly like this in the middle of them. Discomfort has a way of disguising itself as a warning. It can make you believe that something is off, that you've made the wrong choice, or that you need to escape before things get worse. But often, discomfort isn't there to push you away. It's there to wake you up. It highlights areas where you are being challenged to grow, to see differently, to respond with more awareness than you have before. Think about the patterns you've had in the past, the things that felt easy, familiar, and comfortable. Did they always lead to growth? Or did they keep you in the same place, repeating the same cycles? Comfort can feel safe, but it rarely stretches you. It rarely asks anything new of you. And because of that, it rarely changes you in meaningful ways. On the other hand, situations that matter often come with tension. They require effort, patience, and sometimes even struggle. They bring out emotions you didn't expect and force you to confront parts of yourself you might have avoided. That doesn't mean they are meant to break you. It means they are revealing you. They are showing you where you stand, what you value, and how you handle complexity. When you feel the urge to quit, it's important to pause and question where that urge is coming from. Is it coming from clarity, or is it coming from discomfort? Are you stepping away because you truly understand that it's not right for you, or because it's asking more of you than you feel ready to give? These are not the same thing, and confusing them can lead to decisions you later question. Growth rarely feels smooth while it's happening. It often feels uncertain, slow, and even frustrating. There are moments where you won't have clear answers, where progress won't be obvious, where everything feels like it's stuck in between. But that in-between space is where transformation happens. It's where you develop patience, resilience, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Clarity also doesn't always arrive at the beginning. Many people expect to feel completely sure before they commit to something or continue with it. But in reality, clarity is often something that develops over time. It comes from staying present, from observing, from allowing the situation to unfold instead of rushing to escape it. If you leave at the first sign of discomfort, you might also be leaving before clarity has had the chance to form. This doesn't mean you should hold on to something that is genuinely harmful or misaligned with who you are. There is a difference between healthy discomfort that leads to growth and situations that consistently drain or diminish you. The key is to learn how to tell the difference, and that requires honesty with yourself. So when things feel difficult, don't immediately assume it's a sign to quit. Sit with it, understand it, ask what it's trying to teach you before you decide what to do next. Because sometimes the very thing that feels hardest in the moment is the thing that has the most to offer you in the long run. Discomfort is not always the enemy. Sometimes it's the doorway. Clarity should guide your decision, not emotion. It's easy to underestimate how powerful your emotional state can be in shaping the choices you make. When you feel overwhelmed, confused, or drained, your mind naturally looks for an escape. It wants relief, not necessarily truth. And in those moments, any decision that promises immediate peace can feel like the right one, even if it isn't. Emotions are real and important, but they are also temporary and constantly shifting. What feels unbearable today might feel manageable tomorrow. What seems clear in a moment of frustration might look completely different once you've had time to reflect. That's why decisions made in the heat of confusion, fear, or exhaustion often lead to regret. They are reactions, not responses. They are driven by the need to feel better right now, rather than the intention to choose what is actually right for you in the long run. When you're caught in emotional intensity, your perspective narrows. You start focusing only on what hurts, what's missing, or what feels uncertain. You may overlook the bigger picture, the patterns, the lessons, the growth that is quietly taking place. Fear can make you believe that things will never improve. Exhaustion can convince you that you've already done enough. Confusion can blur the line between what is truly wrong and what is simply unclear. This is why clarity matters so much. Clarity doesn't rush. It doesn't pressure you into immediate action. It allows space for understanding. It comes when you step back from the noise of your emotions and begin to observe the situation with a steadier mindset. It asks you to look at things as they are, not just as they feel in a particular moment. Taking time doesn't mean avoiding the decision. It means respecting its importance. Not every situation requires an immediate answer. Some decisions carry weight, and they deserve patience. When you give yourself that time, you begin to notice things you couldn't see before. You start to understand what you're actually feeling beneath the surface. You recognize patterns in your reactions. You become aware of what is coming from fear and what is coming from truth. There is also something valuable in asking what the situation is teaching you. Every meaningful experience brings some form of insight, even if it's uncomfortable at first. Maybe it's showing you how you handle uncertainty. Maybe it's revealing what you truly need in a connection. Maybe it's challenging you to set better boundaries or to communicate more honestly. These lessons are easy to miss if you rush to an exit before fully understanding them. When clarity begins to form, your decision feels different. It doesn't come from urgency or pressure. It feels grounded, steady, and aligned. Even if the choice is difficult, there is a sense of understanding behind it. You're not just trying to escape a feeling, you're choosing a direction that makes sense to you. And that's what reduces regret. Not the guarantee that everything will turn out perfectly, but the confidence that you made your decision with awareness, that you didn't act impulsively or let temporary emotions define a long-term choice. So instead of asking, "What should I do right now?" try asking, "Do I understand this well enough yet?" If the answer is no, give yourself permission to pause. Let the emotions settle. Let your perspective widen. Let clarity take shape. Because when you finally decide, from a place of understanding rather than reaction, you move forward without constantly looking back. Patience leads to understanding and growth. One of the hardest truths to accept is that not everything in life reveals its meaning right away. We naturally want clarity as soon as something feels uncertain. We want answers when emotions are high, direction when things feel unclear, and resolution when we're stuck in the middle of something we don't fully understand. But life doesn't always work on that timeline. Sometimes you are not at an ending, you are in a process. And processes are uncomfortable because they are unfinished. They don't give you the satisfaction of closure or the confidence of certainty. Instead, they ask you to exist in a space where things are still forming, still shifting, still becoming what they're meant to be. That in-between space can feel confusing, even frustrating, because you can't yet see where it's leading. But just because you don't understand something now doesn't mean it's meaningless. In fact, some of the most important experiences in your life will only make sense in hindsight. When you're in the middle of them, all you can see is the confusion, the delay, the unanswered questions. It's only later, after time has passed, after you've grown, after things have unfolded, that you begin to connect the dots. Patience is what allows that understanding to develop. It's not about doing nothing or ignoring what you feel. It's about giving the situation enough space to reveal itself instead of forcing it into a conclusion too quickly. When you rush, you often settle for incomplete answers. You make decisions based on partial understanding, and that can lead to unnecessary regret or missed insight. Enduring with awareness is different from simply waiting. It means staying present with what you're experiencing instead of trying to escape it. It means paying attention to your thoughts, your reactions, your patterns, It means asking yourself what this moment is showing you, even if you don't yet know what it means. That awareness turns waiting into growth, because while the situation is unfolding externally, something is also unfolding within you. You are learning about yourself, about your emotional responses, about what matters to you and what doesn't. You are developing patience, resilience, and a deeper sense of understanding. These are not small things. They shape how you approach future decisions, relationships, and challenges. There is also a certain kind of clarity that only comes with time. It cannot be rushed or forced. It arrives when you've seen enough, felt enough, and reflected enough to truly understand what's in front of you. And when that clarity comes, it feels different. It's not driven by urgency or pressure. It feels steady, grounded, and complete. What feels confusing now will not always feel this way. The pieces that don't seem to fit will eventually find their place. The emotions that feel overwhelming will settle into something you can understand. The situation that feels unclear will either reveal its purpose or show you why it wasn't meant to continue. But none of that happens if you cut the process short. If you walk away too quickly or force a conclusion before it's ready, you interrupt the very thing that was meant to bring you understanding. So allow yourself to be where you are, even if it's uncomfortable. Trust that not having all the answers right now is part of the journey, not a failure of it. Stay aware, stay patient, and give things the time they need to unfold. Because growth doesn't always happen in clear, decisive moments. Often it happens quietly, in the waiting, in the questioning, in the slow unfolding of understanding that only patience can make possible.